The New Patriotic Party has denounced government handling of the economy, accusing the Mahama administration of being in a state of denial. At a news conference in Accra on Monday, the opposition party lashed out at government for what it says has been its failure to put proper measures in place to save Ghana's ailing economy. The NPP repeated accusations that government had illegally appropriated petroleum revenue, adding that contrary to denials by officials, it has proof.
Addressing the news conference, Deputy Ranking Member of Finance, Dr. Marcos Sibi, said the party's assessment so far points to a weak economy, which is further deteriorating due to the policies of the ruling government. The news conference was dubbed "The True State of the Economy and Government in a State of Denial," the NPP's response to the Senchi Consensus and connected matters.
After denying the NPP's assessment of the state of the economy and even threatening a counter-lecture, the NDC proceeded to organize a National Economic Forum in Senchi. With the economy rapidly running out of international reserves, a rising inflation, government unable to meet statutory payments and thus piling up arrears, mounting arrears to contractors, and also arrears in public sector wages and salaries, a rapidly depreciating currency, which is happening on a daily basis, an ongoing power crisis, a continuing upward adjustment of petroleum prices attributable primarily to the daily fall of the cedi, a general increase in the cost of living and the cost of doing business. How is the Senchi Consensus going to deal with these problems? It is clear that the Senchi Economic Forum did not restore confidence in the economy and economic management in general.
He noted that the economy is saddled with increasing inflation, high interest rates, declining real GDP growth and massive increase in public debt stock, which is making it unattractive to foreign investors. The party says, contrary to denials by officials, it has proved that government utilized the Petroleum Stabilization Fund without recourse to the law.
May we use this occasion to inform fellow Ghanaians that we are in possession of evidence that shows that the government, with the complicity of the Bank of Ghana, has in fact illegally utilized the Petroleum Stabilization Fund. The first withdrawal of $177 million was made in May 2014 in violation of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, Act 815. We hereby strongly urge Parliament to investigate this issue, and we ask the government and the Bank of Ghana to come clean on this matter.
The NPP further offered policy proposals which they advised government to implement as soon as possible to deal with the current crisis.
The government has to admit that the economy is in crisis so that it can carry the country along and get public support for the tough remedial measures it may have to take. There must be policy credibility to assure markets and investors that Ghana is a safe bet. Government should restore fiscal discipline by ensuring that we cut our coats according to our size. Measures such as ensuring value for money in the award of government contracts, especially by conducting scrupulous due diligence before the award of contracts, as well as allowing Parliament space and resources to better delve into government contracts before approval is given. Dealing effectively with corruption in the management of public finances, especially by bringing to a halt the unbridled resort to restricted tendering and sole sourcing. And undertaking a proper biometric-based payroll audit to eliminate ghost workers, as well as implement biometric-based payment system for all public sector workers to deal with fraud in government payroll.
Matilda Pomagan for Joy News.
Former First Lady Nana Konadu Rawlings has told the Judgment Debt Commission a 5 million Ghana cedis judgment debt awarded Calf Cocoa International some 6 years ago came in rather too late to keep the company in business. Calf Cocoa, which is partly owned by the former First Lady, had been awarded the amount in 2008 after High Court faulted government for reneging on a subsidiary loan agreement to provide capital. She told the Commission that inaction by government forced the company to fold after its Chinese backers pulled out. Atani Delali has more.
Former First Lady and President of the 31st December Women's Movement, Nana Konadu-Agyeman-Rawlings, blamed collapse of Calf Cocoa International, a joint venture capital with a Chinese company, on political interference. She told the commission it caused 2,800 employees to lose their jobs. It had been widely reported that the judgment debt awarded Calf Cocoa was in dollars, but the former First Lady denies this.
I heard on TV that we were paid some amount in dollars. Nobody has paid us $1. Everything that was paid was in cedis, and so we are working with the cedi component that was paid to us of 4,991,655 cedis. And so we are indeed trying to get this factory to work and look for new partners, because the Chinese said they are not interested anymore. So we should get partners to partner us and get it going. And if we find partners, we should let them know. From 2002, when the problem started, it hasn't stopped. It carried through to the new government of 2009. It's carrying through with the new government of today. So I don't know whether they really want to have this place functioning so we can employ the 2,800 people that this factory can employ.
She explained that the High Court in March 2008 asked government to pay 3.55 million plus accumulated interest to Calf Cocoa after he failed to pay an amount of 1.8 million to Calf Cocoa, being the working capital that had been agreed with government towards the establishment of the cocoa factory.
And my Lord, you know, if you leave a house standing with nothing happening there, nobody taking care of it, it becomes something that maybe one cannot even enter. The compound that had been immaculately decorated became like a forest area, bushy area. Everything was being stolen. And so, and we realized that water that we had connected from Tema all the way to the factory had been disconnected, and all the pipes had been removed. Electricity that had been connected from Tema Electricity Department had all been removed, and even the poles taken away. So it meant that even with the judgment that was given to us by the court, the court, my Lord, we had to then look at going to refix the place. And this is where we are at the moment.
The factory, she explained, was primarily established to add value to Ghana's raw cocoa through the processing of the beans into cocoa oil, cakes and aromatic products. Next to appear before the commission were representatives from the Registrar General's Department, whose case was adjourned to unannounced date because the commission wanted some time to peruse the document presented before it. Etonamse, Joy News.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has begun an intensive nationwide exercise to clamp down on the activities of persons who engage in illegal electricity connections. The exercise, officials say, is in keeping with its efforts to reduce commercial losses resulting from electricity theft. Managing Director Reverend William Hutton-Menson says 941 illegal connections were detected in the first quarter of the year, a trend he describes as very alarming. Redwan Karim Osman reports.
The team began its operations in Accra Monday morning from Abelempe, where the culprits, mostly owners of boutiques, put up some resistance.
It will spoil my machine. Which kind of life?
Some of them, however, pleaded ignorance.
I'm paying. I buy 200 cedi. At least when I buy 200 cedi, it lasts for like 2 weeks. Not that I don't buy. I buy very well. I can show you my card, Daddy. No, Daddy. Daddy, no, I played to you. I talk with you. If not, Daddy, I didn't talk to you. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not fighting with you. I don't know who did it. So I asked my boy. Yeah, I found out. I didn't see any room as well. You get it? So when I came in, my boy was telling me that ECG man came there in the evening, 6 o'clock. That was on Saturday.
Some boutique owners, however, managed to lock up and bolt before the team could catch up with them. The ECG boss lamented how the illegal connections are crippling his outfit financially.
We need to step up the campaign to weed out this menace in our society. We know that for us as a utility, if we want to be profitable, then we have to ensure that system losses come to the levels that are expected of us. First, we have the PRC benchmark of 21% that we should achieve. Then secondly, there's an international benchmark of 15% that beyond the 21% we should achieve. So we are embarking on intensive exercises across the length and breadth of our operational areas to flush out all those who are involved in these illegal connection activities.
He discounted public perceptions that acquiring a meter from the ECG is fraught with excessive bureaucracy and advised the public to go through the right channels.
We have, as a company, standards and specifications for our meters, only that sometimes the brands are different, but they conform to the same standards and specifications. But what we want to do, moving the way forward, we want to make a common metering platform where every meter that we buy should be able to function in such a way that irrespective of wherever a customer is, you should be able to have the same function. You can use the same vending system for any area that you are in. That's how we want to go ultimately.
He appealed to the media and the general public for support and further stated persons who report those engaged in the illegality will be handsomely rewarded. Recoveries from illegal connections detected have increased steadily over the years from 5.6 million Ghana cedis in 2011 to 9 million Ghana cedis in 2012. 11.8 million was recovered in 2013. As at March 2014, 3.3 million Ghana cedis had been recovered to the company.
Now, this may not exactly be a surprise, but the Electricity Company of Ghana says it cannot guarantee that there will be no outages for the duration of the FIFA World Cup, which begins this week. There have been reports government is making some interventions to ensure the current power rationing program is either minimized or suspended so Ghanaians can enjoy the Mondial. Though ECG says there are efforts to discriminate power in favor of residential users, Managing Director William Hunton Mensah says the electricity supply situation can improve significantly if customers will adopt energy conservation practices.
We are using this medium to appeal to our customers and the general public that during the World Cup matches, let's switch off all high-consuming appliances such as deep freezers, air conditioners, and fridges. I want to believe that for the period of the matches, if we're able to do this exercise, we believe most of us will have electricity to watch the matches.
So now you know what you have to do if you want to watch the match. You switch off your heavy appliances. In other news, the Brong Ahafo Regional Security Council from Monday will be operating a military base at Dokochina near the Bui Hydroelectric Dam to discourage illegal mining near the facility. The regional minister, Eric Opoku, announced this in Sunyani when he addressed the first general meeting of the Brong Ahafo Regional House of Chiefs.
This decision by the RESEC is to eliminate all threats to the Bui Dam from the activities of illegal gold miners at Dokochina. Eric Opoku emphasized the Brong Ahafo Regional Security Council is resolute in the fight against illegal mining in the region, especially around the Bui Hydroelectric Dam. Eric Opoku also bemoaned the spate of illegal timber logging in the Brong Ahafo region and appealed to the House of Chiefs to caution their members not to allow such activities in their area. RESEC, he stressed, will not spare the rod but crack the whip on anyone found contravening the law on illegal logging and mining. The president of the Brong Ahafo Regional House of Chiefs, Pima Pimya Kabrese, mentioned rampant chieftaincy disputes as one of the major challenges confronting the house.
It was also noted that at the Traditional Council level, the emergence of acting presidents for a long period of time is crippling the process of registration of some Nananom who have not had their names registered in the National Register of Chiefs before or after the demise of the Omahine as the Chieftaincy Act mandates.
Pima Pimya Kabrese mentioned that the House has also taken several steps to ensure that the large number of chieftaincy disputes pending before its judicial committee is reduced. He also added that the House will soon establish a student hostel in Suani to ease the accommodation problems facing students of the various institutions there. Eric Opoku was installed the 50th member of the House. Nesta Kafui Ajoman's report for Joy News.
Authorities at the Fomena Community Health Nurses Training School are lamenting the poor state of infrastructure they say is affecting quality teaching and learning. Apart from overcrowded dormitories, the school's library, which has a seating capacity of 36, is having to cater for a student population of 515.
The functions of the community health nurse.
Every academic year, more than 1,000 qualified applicants undergo interview here at the Fomena Community Health Nurses Training School. Of this number, less than 300 students are eventually admitted because the infrastructure is inadequate and there are not many lecturers. Some of the dormitories and the administration block leak terribly, owing to the fact that part of the main building is not roofed. These iron rods are also life-threatening. An uncompleted building overtaken by bush could have provided badly needed accommodation for male students and tutors. The contractor is, however, not on site. Information available to Joy News indicate he's owed for the parts of the project already executed. The library has also become too small for the school population, which means an increasing number can't have access. The school's principal, Linda Roxen Bamfo-Mante, at the 6th matriculation ceremony appealed to government to provide funds for the completion of the structures.
As much as the school appreciates the efforts of the Ministry of Health and other main stakeholders of the school to ensure that these abandoned structures are completed, we will still continue to make a passionate appeal to the government and our dear ministries to please provide the needed funds for the completion of these mighty structures, most of which are abandoned in the bush. The uncompleted structures have been tendered in the dailies by the Ministry of Health some few months back for interested contractors to bid for the project. It is also impossible and very difficult for the management of the school to go in to solicit for funds from well-wishers to complete the uncompleted part of the main school structure.
The successful applicant for the year would undertake a 2-year program. Member of Parliament for Adansi North, Atabuafo, appealed to the government to make available the allowance of the students as soon as possible to facilitate the academic work.
We're staying in Fomena, where the health center in the Adansi North district of the Ashanti region continues to register high level of malaria cases. Officials say about 60% of cases recorded at the center in the first 4 months of 2014 have all been malaria. Deputy Chief Physician Assistant at the facility, Nana Oforiata, describes the situation as very alarming, therefore requiring proper attention.
3 out of 5 patients who attend the health facility are being diagnosed of malaria. According to Nana Oforiata, the health center is embarking on a number of controllable measures to manage the transmission of the parasite in the district. Other diseases the facility records include upper respiratory tract infection, which represent 20% of cases, and diarrhea 10%. The figure, according to officials, however, declines during the drying season. But they say they are conducting rapid diagnostic tests on every patient who will visit the center as part of effort to control the disease.
Malaria ni idea no de yen de ya once ya tiase ni de eni no aneti so aban so bon homodia kwan bia wo so mfa so bia wo se ye brena se bia yen ka se ye tu na sisi ye ne mo ye brena se ye brena se ya ebeduru emre bi na chese ye timi atuase kura.
Community health nurses in the district are currently on an educational tour to create awareness about the malaria parasite. With the rapid growth in population in the district, the health center is increasingly being stretched. Nana Oforiata is therefore appealing for a district hospital to help contain patients and provide quality healthcare delivery to residents. Before now, the health center has had no ambulance to transport patients in critical condition to other facilities to receive medical care. Our camera captured this woman who was being transported in a taxi cab to the facility, a situation health workers say could worsen the patient's condition. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for the Adansi North constituency, Atabuafo, has presented an ambulance to the health facility to enhance their response to emergency situation. Nana Oforiatta commended the effort of the MP and called on other individuals and institutions to do same.
We have more stories coming up after the break. Do stay tuned. The Institute of Economic Affairs is also asking government to hold on with the upcoming referendum on proposed amendments to the 1992 Constitution until the electorate thoroughly understand what they are being asked to vote on. According to the IEA's advisory committee set up to review the winner-takes-all practice in governance, the amendments should reflect the desires of the people and shouldn't be impositions.
The Constitution Review Implementation Committee, having held series of deliberations on the proposed amendment, is set to table the bill before Parliament, after which it will be presented for adoption or otherwise at a referendum this year. The 11-member committee, instituted by the IEA, however, believes not much work has been done to educate the citizenry.
Government should slow down the pace of the current stage of the Constitution review process to enable more public discussion, consultation, education, and sensitization on the contents of the government white paper. The committee is of the view that public and civil society consultations, awareness, and vigilance in the review of the Constitution remain crucial to mitigate the growing potential threats of political agitation and social disintegration that the current system seems to be engendering.
The committee also observed the Constitutional Review Commission's report did not contain any proposal on how to do away with the winner-takes-all system, which it believes has been the bane of Ghana's democracy.
The committee, for instance, notes that although many Ghanaians have called for a rethink of the winner-takes-all syndrome, the Constitution Review Implementation Committee seems to have virtually completed its task without any indication that this issue is being addressed.
The advisory committee intends to conduct a 3-month nationwide public consultation program with various identifiable groups beginning June. It is therefore appealing to government to suspend the referendum until the process is completed and relevant recommendations are integrated into the amendment.
The lives of 235 pupils of the Chevi School for the Deaf in the Eastern region are in danger. This is because Galamsey operators have dug several uncovered pits on the compound of the school, which has no walls. The situation is worsened with the onset of the rains, as the large pits are filled to the brim with rainwater. One child is said to have died in one of the pits 2 years ago. Beatrice Edu has been to the school, and reports officials are worried because calls to the authorities have not yielded any results in stopping the illegal miners.
The pupils loiter and have fun on the school's compound after a light shower, unconcerned about the soggy nature of the compound, except they are fully aware of their limitations. Should they go beyond the unmarked boundaries, they risk tripping and drowning in pits dug around the school compound. The Galamsey operators started digging these pits some few meters from the classrooms 4 years ago. An official of the school who wants to remain anonymous tells me one child died in one of the pits 2 years ago, and he is worried another child might suffer that same fate. The situation, he says, has adversely affected academic work. What is even more worrying is that pleas to the authorities have not yielded any results. Most residents are afraid to speak publicly about the matter, but accuse some chiefs and persons they describe as big people as backing these illegal miners. Jonathan Opokwasari is one of the few residents brave enough to share his concerns. School officials and residents say the Ghana Education Service must urgently come to their aid and build a wall around the school to protect the children or risk more deaths. Beatrice Edu, Joy News, Chebi.
The Children's Heart Foundation Ghana has raised over 203,000 Ghana cedis to support infants with various heart conditions. At the charity ball held Saturday night, President of the foundation, Jackie Amkalense, indicated the primary focus of the foundation is to help pay for corrective surgeries for children.
The Children's Heart Foundation Ghana has so far paid for open heart surgeries for 37 children at a total cost of 384,000 cedis. It says, though the cardio center absorbs 50% of the cost, the rather high tab means the parents are still unable to raise the other half.
And for many of the parents, the cost of 14,000 Ghana cedi or 24,000 Ghana is just way out of their reach. And so despite the fact that the cardio center to Ghana Heart Foundation give 50% discount to the parents that find themselves in that situation, it's still not enough, because a lot of the parents cannot find the other half. And so by the time they've gone around company 1, company 2, 1,000 here, 100 there, usually 3 years go by and still they don't have enough to actually meet the cost of surgery. And that's where we come in. So whatever is the parents' half is what we pay, and so we make it happen.
The foundation deals specifically with the cardio center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
When they have encountered a family in this sort of condition, they will give them a letter, which we require, basically stating what the condition is and what the prognosis is in terms of the surgery that's required and the cost. So once we've got that, then they are then directed to our premises and we fill in the forms. And of course we're dealing with, like I said, life-threatening disease, so everybody is urgent and we don't like to play God. So the best way we could do it was on a first-come, first-served basis.
The foundation depends solely on individual and corporate support through fundraising events, and considering the numerous cases of congenital heart conditions that are reported each year, the foundation says it always has to be soliciting for funds. The over 203,000 cedis raised at this year's charity ball compares to the 179,000 cedis raised in 2013.
They can be yours just for the asking.
The Yulukrobo branch members of the NDC have expressed worry about the neglect of roads in the constituency, despite the constituents' loyalty to the NDC. According to the executives, though the chiefs and people of Lower Manyakrobo have consistently voted for the party since 1992, they are yet to witness any major rehabilitation of their terrible roads. Haruna Yusuf Vumpuni reports.
The deplorable nature of roads in the Lower Manyakrobo municipality and the generally poor state of the infrastructure is of major concern to the chiefs and people of Kroboland. Several roads in the community are in a deplorable state and have not seen any attention for close to 10 years now. The NDC members in the community say government would have to act immediately to address the situation.
Over the years, we could see that there's huge infrastructure deficit in Lower Manya. When you talk about roads, town roads and the major roads, you see that there has not been improvement. Similarly, when you go to structures for schools or centers for learning or health centers, you see that there's a huge deficit. And that has been the pain of the masses these days.
In a related development, the NDC branch executive members in the constituency has organized a press briefing to commend President John Dramani Mahama for reassigning the MP for Lower Manyakrobo constituency, Oklite Telabi, as a Deputy Minister for Land and Natural Resources. Haruna Yusuf Vumpuni's report from the Eastern Region.
Business News is next.
Good evening and welcome to Business with me, Matilda Nyakwa Kweku. The Environmental Protection Agency says it has had to allow tallow oil, flare gas from the Jubilee field to save the company's infrastructure from collapsing. Joy News last week reported that the EPA had given the green light for the gas from the field to be flared despite the implications for the environment and the fact that government has always frowned on the practice, especially because the resource could have been used to generate electricity. But head of the public affairs at the agency, Angelina Mensah, says the decision was taken in the interest of the company. Daily production at the Jubilee field is said to have been reduced by almost 5,000 barrels because of the operator's inability to flare the natural gas. Now, there are mixed views out there about the VAT on financial services. Our interactions with members of the public, however, suggest a lot more people don't see the justification and are making plans to avoid them, even if it means closing their bank accounts.
It affects my income, because if I go to the bank and I do any transaction there, my understanding of the issue is that any service that the bank renders, they will charge you, and for that reason they must charge VAT on those services. So obviously it's going to affect my income in the long run, and so I don't think it's a very good policy. Government should take a second look at the policy and see what they can do. Now I have to look at the possibility of minimizing my transactions at the bank, because if I do a lot of transactions, it means that at every point in time that I do any transaction, I'll be charged for the service as well as I'll be charged for VAT. So I have to look at the possibility of minimizing my transactions at the bank. At the moment, I cannot say that I'm going to withdraw my money from the bank. Of course, we need the banking services. But what I'm saying is that it will tell on my finances, because anytime my salary goes into account and I use my ATM or I go to take a checkbook or something, I'll be charged for the service as well as I'll be charged for VAT. So I think that it's not good. Government should take a second look at it.
So like for instance, maybe the bank's taking 5 cedis and government taking 17.5 after the 5 cedis. It's the coins like this. It's normal. You see, it's based on the percentage the banks are going to charge. It's going to affect me too much. So what are you going to do? We accept it and move on as a country.
It sort of affected industries. I mean, affected the banking sector. And it's wanting to be introduced to the insurance industry wasn't a good idea. I think right now it's been scratched off. But honestly, it's making people kind of take advantage of it. You know, you ask these truck drivers, they tell you everything has been increased, food has been increased, all because of this VAT. But I think something should be done about it, if you ask me.
Now, still in business, the Ghana Revenue Authority last week issued a list of financial services which would attract the 17.5% VAT from July 1. Now, those salaries per se will not be taxed as had been speculated. There are still concerns that the charges will discourage people from banking. The list includes fees, commissions and charges relating to current accounts, that is foreign and local, of only corporate bodies, bank drafts, stopped and returned checks, and turnover for corporate bodies, among 27 other items with sub-items, bringing to 81 the total number of services that will be affected. Banking consultant and head of the Otumfuo Center for Executive Education and Research, Nana Otuo Echampon, believes the tax could prove counterproductive. Government has started the process to wean state-owned enterprises of its support, especially in the servicing of their debts, with the establishment of debt servicing accounts to enable these enterprises service their debts on their own. President Mahama revealed this during the meeting with the head of enterprises at Peduase Lodge to review government's new policy on debt financing. According to him, the move is part of efforts to effectively manage the country's debt stock.
We decided to have this meeting so that we could discuss it, because the debt management division has already started a process of having you to set up your debt service accounts and all that. And I want you all to take it very seriously, to set up those debt service accounts and look at new ways of running your enterprises in a way that make them viable. As the minister said, some of you are doing so already. Even when we have had to put up sovereign guarantees for you, you meet your debt service obligations. And so this is to streamline it properly and ensure that it falls in line with the new policies that we are introducing.
Well, that's all for business with me, Matilda Nyakwa Kweku.
All right, so under 48 hours to the World Cup, and that's definitely what we'll talk about. There's been some stunning revelation this afternoon at the press conference. At least 500 supporters will be sponsored to cheer the Black Stars at the World Cup in Brazil. Sports Minister Elvis Afriyankwa made a stunning revelation at a press conference organized by his ministry to explain all World Cup related issues. Aside confirming the minimum number of fans to be sent to Brazil, the sports minister also hinted it will cost at least $6,000 to transport each fan.
How many supporters, as of today? Yes, as of today, as I speak to you now, I can confirm 500. Now, I told you that even as of today, we're still getting calls and follow-ups of pledges. A lot of people have pledged. You know how sometimes corporate people and Ghanaians in general behave? They are waiting to see. So we have to pray that today's match will do well. You understand me? Because I believe that can unlock all the other things that are being held up. There's a lot of goodwill. People have pledged, but somehow it's like wait and see, wait and see. So as we speak to you now, 500. But I'm confident that we will be able to go beyond based on the pledges that we have in the system. But what I can confirm and put my head on now as we speak, 500.
Okay, so it's 500 for now. The number could go to 700, but you can do the calculations yourself. It's 500 times 6,000, the very minimum $3 million, and it goes up and up. Minister of Sports also debunked claims that the government would sponsor 20 World Cup ambassadors recently named to raise funds for supporters to Brazil at the cost of $20,000 per head.
Now, there's a certain document making the rounds, and it's important that we put the document and the context and its source into proper perspective. Before the ambassadors came on board, we were writing, asking directly money for supporters. And it was coming, it wasn't coming. Now, when the ambassadors came on board, and I have here a schedule for the ambassadors. Now, as they went out, the response from some of the corporate people is that sometimes this money is used for party people. So they are not interested so much in supporters. Is there any other thing that they can support? So, for instance, if the ambassadors were going to perform as artists, what would be the cost? So that was the rationale behind them doing a proposal, and I'm saying a proposal, and doing two scenarios. Scenario one, we said, look, for every 100 supporters at 6,000, this is the cost. Now, if we're going to pay ambassadors, we're going to pay ambassadors for performance, we're going to take care of them and all that, and for all the 20 ambassadors, this was going to be the cost. That is the history behind that document. So it does not mean that we have costed that we're going to spend 20,000 on each ambassador. It doesn't work like that.
All right, so clearly, I hope you understand now, the ambassadors won't embezzle fans. Now let's talk more about the Black Stars tonight. And they face South Korea in a final friendly game ahead of the World Cup, which starts in 2 days. The game will kick off in a few hours' time. Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah says his top priority is to see how his team is shaping up and won't be bothered by the outcome of tonight's international friendly against South Korea. The two sides clash in a few hours to firm up preparations ahead of the start of the World Cup on Wednesday. The Black Stars lost their first pre-World Cup friendly game against the Netherlands last week and will be keen to bounce back against their Asian opponents. Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah says he's not concerned about the results, but only focusing on testing players and systems. Meanwhile, defender Daniel Opari is an injury doubt for tonight's international friendly. The 23-year-old trained alone on Sunday evening as a precaution with a slight muscle problem, according to the Ghana FA. Opari is the only injury concern for the Black Stars as they come to the end of their training program in the USA. South Korea head coach Hong Yang-bu, however, wants his side to put up a strong showing against the Black Stars. The South Koreans have undergone rigorous tactical and conditioning drills over the past few days in Miami. The Asian Giants have been lethargic in their preparations and suffered a 1-0 loss to Tunisia in their last pre-World Cup friendly contest at home. South Korea have conceded 18 goals in their last 15 games, and the defenders will have their hands full against Ghana, who are likely to field starters Asamoah Gyan, Kevin Prince Boateng, Delia Yu and Kwadwo Asamoah. Hong wants his players to tighten up things on both ends against the Black Stars. All right, so there's been a lot of talk about whether Kwesi Appiah should start with his ideal first 11. We didn't see that in the first game against the Netherlands, and so we are looking closely what will happen tonight. Let me just give you an idea of what the starting lineup is. Who knows, maybe it's the first 11. For the goalkeeper, we have Fatal Dawda in post. He's coming back definitely. Harrison Afful, right back. Kojo Samoa will be playing at left back. Now, quite interesting there because there have been a lot of issues about Kojo Samoa playing at left back. Let's talk about the centre back, and we have John Boy and Jonathan Mensah. In the central, I mean, he had 4 midfielders. So we have Rabiu Mohammed, Kevin Prince Boateng, Suleiman Tari, all in it as well. Okay, there you have it. And for the strikers, we have Majid Abdul Waris, and we have Asamoah Gyan, Andre Ayew as well is in there. So if you're just looking at that, big questions about the left back position, Kojo Samoa playing there, we'll be looking at that. We'll also look at what happens between the partnership, you know, between Waris and Asamoah Gyan. Great to see Andre Ayew as well in there. So what are the fans saying about this game? You know, we have about 25 million plus coaches here. That's what they think should happen tonight.
When going to most of these tournaments, a win boosts the team's morale, the players' morale, their psyche and everything. So a win for them, it's okay. And the performance for them, at least, will let us all Ghanaians know whether the team is ready for the tournament. Because it's a big stage, and we all expect a good performance for them. That will propel them to move on to the next stage. So a good performance, yes, we all expect a good performance.
It's very important because people have perception, or when you go through Kwesiapie's records, you realize that playing outside Africa, people believe he's not being able to win any of the matches, and therefore to win people's heart, to win Ghanaians' heart, I think tonight's match he needs to win the match for us, and we need to see a very good performance from the boys, because that will, I mean, encourage people to know that yes, we are really ready for the World Cup in Brazil. Because the last match we played against Holland, people were asking what kind of pattern we're playing, what kind of formation we're playing. We're just playing the ball anyhow. People couldn't realize what we were playing. So therefore, I think performance tonight is very critical and very important to all Ghanaians.
Right, so there's been a lot of development, you know, when it comes to sports, World Cup issues.
World Cup issues
today. One of the first things I want to, you know, bring up is the fact that I'm told that among the ambassadors, well, he's not exactly an ambassador. He's
named the World Cup ambassador, so.
Okay, but he is also Shatawale. He's also going to Brazil.
Shatawale was going to go to Brazil anyway because he's part of Rakus Entertainment, who are the official entertaining body for the Black Stars. So Shatawale would definitely have found himself there. The minister told us today that the likes of Shatawale and Becca and the rest have their own money to go anyway, so they're not going to be relying on any. But 6 of those ambassadors will be catered for. And he cited a few, and you think that it's just natural, like Ali Jara, Grace Ashi. Surely they would need to get some sponsorship.
You know, but, you know, still on the ambassadors, I'm told that after this first list of ambassadors came out, there were some protestations from another group that said there were no inclusions from Kumewood. And so they wanted Kumewood to also be included. Did they come up on the news conference?
It came up, but, you know, sadly, because there have been a lot of agitations. In SWAG, the members are not happy with the slot they were giving. Sports callers, not happy. So it looks like a situation where not everybody could be satisfied. We cannot take everyone to Brazil. I think that's just crucial. But if you have a way of going around it, so the minister says that they're going for some more sponsorship, and it looks like they will get some more. Maybe, who knows, if we win tonight's game, some companies say, oh yeah, Kumewood and guys can go. But I tell you, it always happens this way.
Is there a film industry somewhere in the north who may also want to ask that?
I don't know. But we know that Kumewood are, you know, there. So definitely, it's something that we're looking ahead to. And even if, and normally when we talk about the numbers, at the end of the day, we might get more going than what we have on paper. So some people will still find themselves in it.
And the people who are going, did they say how exactly they're going to settle on the 500?
There's a criteria.
Okay.
And that criteria is going to be clearly how strong your supporter union is. But we know. I mean, but we know. I mean, we're dealing with a history.
I'm a strong supporter.
No, I know you're a strong supporter, but Israel, you're not going to World Cup. So it's just going to be based on that. There are going to be some, you know, they'll apportion it very well. The spreading is going to be excellent, and the same will also be done for those travel and tour agencies. The minister gives us an idea that everything is going to be fair. Let's hope it is. But just a precedent in all of this is that most of the times when we give the list, people end up going much more than what we expected. And I think the same thing might happen.
Anyway, thank you very much, George Addo Jr. with sports. Always on point with sports.
I know, but you're going to touch on the squad as well. I mean, the squad we're presenting tonight, You don't think touching the squad? Kujasama is playing left back.
Okay. I think it's a stronger squad.
It's a stronger squad, yes, I understand, but that's striking. That's striking because we've seen how Kujasama has not done well at left back. Except something new is coming anyway.
It's as if the first team that we presented against Holland was as if to say Matriku.
This is a better one. I understand. And this is a better one, no doubt.
Yeah.
Prediction?
Okay, all right. Let's leave it like that.
Let's leave it like that. Okay. All right. That's all for sports.
Reggae musician and radio presenter Black Rasta keeps expanding his career. He's now the proud author of a fictional book titled Tuba's Anger. At the launch of the book, the author indicated Tuba's Anger is steeped in African tradition and has a lot of lessons to teach.
Filled with suspense, Tuba's Anger tells the story of two lovebirds whose affection for each other attracts the wrath of a god known as Tuba.
These two people are truly in love. If they continue to be in love, a big calamity is supposed to be happening to the village. So at the end of it, I mean, the story talks about how these two people are able to get over Tuba's anger, because they finally get married, and after getting Mama married, Tuba gets angry, and after Tuba gets angry, what is next?
The author believes there are many outmoded traditional practices in Africa that should be done away with because they hinder the progress of the African continent. So, what is the morale of the story?
It teaches us that we shouldn't just be part and parcel of the society. We should be able to contribute positively to the society and also criticize laws that we think are not helping us. Criticize constructively, saying the fact that 20,000 years ago people were doing things like this does not mean we should still continue doing those things if they are not helping us. So it's a militant book against some of our obsolete, archaic traditions and lies.
The book targets young adults, and the Deputy Minister for Information, Murtala Mohammed, thinks it makes for a good read.
That's it. Before we go a quick run through our top stories, New Patriotic Party denounces government's handling of the economy and repeats allegations government illegally appropriated petroleum revenue, insisting it has proof. Former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings says 5 million Ghana cedis judgment debt awarded Calf Cocoa International, a company she partly owned, was not enough to save it from collapse. Electricity Company of Ghana says it cannot guarantee uninterrupted power for the duration of the World Cup, but says adoption of energy conservation practices could improve supply. Ronga-Hafo Regional Security Council to establish military base at Dokuchina to ward off Galamsey operators said to be threatening structural integrity of Bui Hydroelectric Dam. And the Institute of Economic Affairs also calls for suspension of upcoming referendum on proposed amendments to 1992 Constitution. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching and have a good evening.